The referee blows the final whistle. A man you've never met
Yes, we did it!
falls to his knees. A child bursts into tears. Complete strangers hug each other like family. Someone climbs onto a car, waving a flag. Fireworks fill the sky. People scream one sentence over and over again. WE won. But who exactly is we? You didn't score the winning goal. You didn't make the final pass. You weren't even on the pitch. So why does your heart race? As if you had just become a world champion, why does a victory earned by 11 players feel like it belongs to millions? The answer has almost nothing to do with football, and everything to do with one of the oldest survival instincts hidden inside the human brain. Because long before there were stadiums, there were tribes, and your brain still doesn't know the difference. The strange part isn't that people celebrate. The strange part is the language they use. Listen carefully. After any World Cup victory, nobody says, the players won. They say, we won. 4 letters, one tiny word. Woke. We. Think about that. You never stepped onto the pitch. You never kicked the ball. You never trained for years. Yet somehow, your brain quietly changes one word, from they to we. Why? Because your brain has just done something extraordinary. It has erased the line between your identity and the team's identity. Psychologists call this identity fusion. It's one of the strongest emotional connections the human brain can create. For a few unforgettable hours, the team no longer feels like 11 players. It feels like an extension of you. That's why an insult toward your team can feel surprisingly personal. Imagine someone walks up to you and says, your country's team is overrated. Logically, they're talking about football. Emotionally, many fans react as if they were personally insulted. Why? Because your brain isn't hearing criticism of the team. It's hearing criticism of something you've already accepted as part of yourself. The badge, the flag, the jersey. They stop becoming symbols. They become identity. Now here's something even more fascinating. Scientists studying sports fans noticed something unusual. After important victories, fans naturally use words like, we dominated, we deserved it. But after painful defeats, the language quietly changes. Suddenly it becomes, they played terribly, they made too many mistakes. Notice the difference? Victory becomes, woke, we. Defeat becomes, they. Your brain protects your self-image without you even noticing. It's one of the cleverest psychological defense mechanisms we have. But here's where everything changes. Because if winning feels like your own success, what exactly happens inside the brain when your team loses? And the answer explains why some people can't sleep. After a football match they never even played. Then it happens. The final whistle blows. Your team loses. The stadium falls silent. The television turns off. Your friends stop talking, but your brain doesn't. Hours later, you're still replaying that missed penalty, that defensive mistake, that one chance that could have changed everything. You know something strange? Your body reacts as though you experienced the loss. Your muscles stay tense. Your heart rate remains elevated. Some people can't sleep. Others lose their appetite. Why would your body react to a match you never played? Because your brain doesn't separate social pain from physical pain as much as we think. Researchers have found that being rejected, excluded, or watching something deeply connected to your identity fail can activate many of the same brain regions involved in physical pain. Think about that. Your team loses, and your brain responds as if part of you has been hurt. Not because football is life, but because, for 90 minutes, Your identity was living on that pitch. Now imagine something even bigger. It's not just your team, it's your country, your flag, your anthem, your childhood memories. Every World Cup you've watched with your family, every celebration, every heartbreak, every dream. Suddenly, one football match carries the weight of an entire lifetime. That's why older fans often cry harder than younger ones. They're not only watching a final, they're reliving 20, 30, sometimes 40 years of memories. One goal doesn't just remind them of today, it reminds them of where they were when they watched previous finals. Who they watched them with, the people who are no longer here, the father who taught them football, the grandfather who never missed a match, the childhood living room, the lucky jersey. The voices they've almost forgotten. The World Cup isn't just a tournament. For millions of people, it's a time machine. And that's why victory feels so much bigger than a trophy. Because sometimes, people aren't celebrating a goal. They're celebrating every memory that goal brought back. But here's the twist almost nobody realizes. The strongest emotion in football isn't happiness. It isn't sadness. It's something far more powerful. Something that explains why billions of people keep coming back every 4 years. What is that emotion? It's not victory. It's not pride. It's belonging. Think about the happiest World Cup celebrations you've ever seen. People don't celebrate alone. They run into the streets. They wave flags. They hug complete strangers. They sing with people they've never met before. Why? Because your brain wasn't designed to celebrate alone. Thousands of years ago, survival depended on one thing, the tribe. If the tribe celebrated, you celebrated. If the tribe suffered, you suffered. The modern world has changed, but your brain hasn't. Today, the tribe isn't just your family. Sometimes it's your country. Sometimes it's a football team. For 90 minutes, millions of people stop being strangers. They become one heartbeat, one dream, one story. And maybe that's why winning the FIFA World Cup feels so personal. Not because your name is on the trophy, but because your identity became part of the journey. Now think back to the beginning of this video. A man cried. A child screamed. A city exploded with joy. You thought they were celebrating a football match. Quote, maybe they were celebrating something much older. The feeling that, for one unforgettable night, they belong to something bigger than themselves. Because deep inside, every human being wants the same thing. To feel connected, to feel seen, to feel that they are part of us. And perhaps that's the real trophy. Not the gold lifted into the sky, but the invisible feeling that millions of hearts experience together. So before this video ends, ask yourself one question. If the World Cup were only about football, why does one final whistle make an entire nation feel like one family? Because maybe the greatest victory isn't lifting the trophy. It's reminding millions of people that despite different cities, different lives, and different stories, for 90 unforgettable minutes, they all beat with the same heart. If this video changed the way you think about the FIFA World Cup, subscribe to Dark Psychology Decode. Every week, we uncover the hidden psychology behind human behavior, emotions, attraction, manipulation, and the invisible forces shaping our everyday lives. Because once you understand why people feel what they feel, you'll never watch the world the same way again. Until next time, stay curious, keep questioning, and remember, people don't celebrate because 11 players won a football match. They celebrate because, for one magical moment, they felt that the victory belonged to them too.